Howdy gamers, Old Gamer Guy here. A new From Software game is always a reason for me to celebrate because they make my all-time favorite games, and I think Bloodborne is my favorite one of those games so far, but I'm always open to have my mind changed, and we have a new contender here in Elden Ring. So this is going to be about my first hour of gameplay, and I'll talk a little bit about how the game feels in comparison to the others. Here at the beginning, I'm just selecting my character base. These are just kind of beginning templates, and then you can take your character any way you want to go as you level them up. I went with the astrologer, and then we have the character creation tools, and I feel like these are easily the best character creation tools in these From Software games. I was able to make a pretty cool looking character. And then I went with the safe but kind of boring choice of the Crimson Amber Medallion, which will give me some extra hit points. There is, of course, a story, but I'm not going to get into this very much at all in this video. These From Software games usually have sort of cryptically told stories, and I'm sure this one is no exception, but there appears to be some sort of betrayal and power up for grabs and demigods trying to get that power. And then there is me, vying to become an Elden Lord. So at the beginning here, this is all very familiar territory if you have played any of these From Software games, Demon Souls or Dark Souls or Bloodborne or Sekiro. Actually, I haven't played Sekiro, so I don't know if Sekiro has these things, but there are messages on the ground and bloodstains on the ground. The messages are left by other players, and so are the bloodstains. You have messages urging you to jump off the cliff to get an amazing item. And this is all very standard stuff for these games. Here we have another one right here. Precious item ahead. But if I walk up to the ledge here and just very gingerly look over the edge, I don't think it's a good idea to jump down there. Those white phantoms are other players in their own games. And all of this is basically how the outdoors has always looked in the Dark Souls games. You can kind of see a long way in some places, but your path is actually pretty restricted. And also, just like the other Souls games, I'm going to be calling this a Souls game, even though it's technically not called a Souls game. Just be aware that I'm going to say Souls a lot, because it does feel like a Souls game. But just like those games, you are presented with a deadly foe very early on, and you are meant to die. It is usually possible to defeat these guys if you are good enough. I've never been able to do it with a beginning character, but I really haven't tried all that much. But you can see here that I have failed, and we have my first death on film. So my body is apparently dumped down into this pit with other dead bodies, left to rot in my semi-brand new astrologer clothing. But as I lay here unconscious, I am approached by a strange hooded figure on a very strange looking horse.
Don't worry, Torrent. Fortune is on his side. We found him here, after all. One of his kind is sure to seek the Elden Ring. Even if it does violate the Golden Order.
Okay, so we will see her a little bit later in the video, but right now I am waking up from my near-death experience, and I can only imagine that this cave smells really terrible. I feel like if I woke up in this cave, I would probably just start vomiting. But never mind that. Let's not talk about that. The camera points us toward this door, but actually there is a tutorial if you jump down into this hole. And just like with most of these games, they don't really present things in a very straightforward way. There is what appears to be a ghost here, and he is saying some cryptic things, encouraging me to jump down there. But I did not do that. I did not realize the tutorial was down there. And actually there's a sound effect that's supposed to play right here that wasn't playing. And then when I turned the game on the next day, there was a patch, and I returned here and there was a sound effect of people screaming like they were falling. So maybe if I had heard that sound effect, I would have gone ahead and jumped in there, but maybe not. Who knows? But never mind that. We will continue on here, and I'm not going to show this whole building, but you're inside for a little while, and then you emerge into the first area of this open world. And here's where things get a little different, because I believe this is From Software's first attempt at an open world game. So I'm curious to see how this will turn out. But right now we have a light up here on the ground, and there's a guy standing back there. He's a friendly. You can talk to him, but I'm not going to show that conversation here. These sites of grace function like the campfires in the Souls game. You can do various things. Allocating flask uses. You actually have two flasks, one for your hit points and one for FP. I'm not really sure what F stands for, but it's basically your magic points or your mana. And you have a certain number of charges to split between them. And so you can choose to have more life or more magic. You can also increase the number of flask uses if you have a golden seed, which I do not have at this point. You can use a sacred tear to increase the amount of replenishment, but I have no sacred tear. You can also pass the time and go from morning to afternoon to evening to night. But I found this cave and I decided to run down in here. I don't have any kind of a torch. It's kind of dark in here, but there are some wolves. And you're going to see what I would call, I guess, my first negative point, and that is the AI. So I'm killing this, or shooting at this wolf down here. There are other wolves right down in front of me, but they're not exactly reacting properly, I would say. And I was chased by this big wolf here. Actually, the first time I came down here, he almost killed me. And then I rested at the Grace site and replenished my health. But every time you rest at one of those, just like at the campfires in the Souls games, you also will resurrect any enemies that you have killed. A little further into the cave, we get a message, be wary of a strong foe. So Strum, the cowardly astrologer, is creeping up to see what's going on. And there is a foggy doorway. And so if you've played these games in the past, you know that there is probably a boss battle beyond this door. So, do I want to face a boss right now, this early in the game? No, I do not. I will come back to that later. But when I went outside, I was attacked by a vicious dragonfly. That's right. This legendary hero, or I guess a hero that will eventually be legendary, is having trouble with a dragonfly. Not sure what I did to piss this thing off. I think I probably just got too close to where it was flying around. And I could not hit it with my magic. Couldn't connect with the sword. But eventually it looked like it got stuck behind some trees. And I bravely ran away and hid in a bush. I spent the majority of my first hour just kind of running around this first area and just looking at things and exploring. There are, of course, resources to pick up, and there is crafting, but I'm not going to really show any of that. In fact, I don't think I did any crafting in the first hour anyway, but there is passive wildlife, there's aggressive wildlife, and then we have these things. If you have played Demon Souls, and I believe they're in Dark Souls as well. I can't remember if they're in Bloodborne, but there are always these little creatures that will run away from you, and if you manage to kill them before they escape, you'll get something out of it. And in this game, they will replenish your flasks. They will replenish either your health flask or the FP flask. I really need to look up what FP stands for. I keep thinking of it as mana, and you use it with spells, but also certain physical skills like a shield bash. But I am running the game on I guess is it quality mode? I'm not using performance mode. I'm not going for the smoother frame rate. This is on PS5. And it seems relatively smooth to me. I've seen a few hiccups in the frame rate. I've seen some pop in the graphics, but it hasn't been bad enough to make me want to play on performance mode. Or actually, the way to have this game be the smoothest it can possibly run is to play the PS4 version on PS5, but I'm not doing that either. Here's a little more combat. You'll be able to see a bit more of what I'm talking about with the AI. It's not the greatest. They will often, if you kill an enemy that's standing next to another enemy, that second enemy might not even notice. But once they do notice you, the combat is very fun, just like in all these games. I really enjoy the combat. It feels great. It feels dangerous, and it's a good thing I didn't connect with that magic spell right there. You'll see why here in a minute. But here's another. See that guy was just standing there, and I killed a buddy of his and the wolf like 10 feet away from him, and he didn't hear it. This guy looks like he might be coming to check out some noise, though. But does he care about the dead bodies, or is he just going to go back to his post? Oh, well. I think I'll just go back to where I was. Or not. You can probably tell I'm not very good at this combat, but I love these games. And I push through the combat, and so far anyway, of these games that I've played, I've finished all. I finished Demon Souls back on PS3, Dark Souls 1, Dark Souls 3, and Bloodborne. And a couple of those I actually played through more than once. But here is apparently the commander of this little camp, and this is going to be my second death. Usually with these games, I will choose a more physical-oriented character, and then I will add magic to them later, but this time I went with a magic user right away. I was able to heal myself there, but it's not really going to do me any good. I really want to go around and backstab the guy, but he's not allowing me to do that. Oh! 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 There we go. Alright, dude. I'm dead. You died, dude. So there we go, my second death, and I can resurrect either at the last grace that I used, or there are also sometimes these little statues in the area, and you can choose to resurrect at one of those. And when you resurrect, you still have all of your gear, so I still have my sword and my shield and my staff, but I dropped my runes, and the runes are like the souls in the Souls games. They're your basic currency. You will buy things from merchants using runes, and you will also level up using runes. But my runes were over here on the ground, and I was able to sneak around the edge of the camp and pick them up without fighting anybody again. But you can't really see, but all the enemies I killed are back alive again. Time has passed also. It looks like it's evening. And instead of fighting some more at the camp, I decided to move on because the grace appears to be beckoning me in this direction. But there is also a very large area back behind me that I haven't explored at all. So the end of this video is going to be me going in this direction, but I eventually turned around and came back this way and found quite a bit more to explore over to the east and to the south. But I decided to go back to the Grace, and I'm glad I did, because the strange hooded figure with the horned horse showed up again. And she's apparently going to be a recurring character. And when she does show up, when you do have the opportunity to talk to her, she will give you some background lore. But this time she also gave me a spectral steed whistle. And now I'm able to summon a horned horse of my very own, which can double jump. And it's not the most amazingly animated horse I've ever seen, but it looks pretty good. My character looks very cool indeed on this horse. And I thought, hey, I've got a horse now. I'm just going to ride past these guys. I'm not going to fight them. And I'm not positive, but I think the big thing up there on the cliff jumped off right there. But I did not turn around to visually verify that. I just got the hell out of there. You can see the AI reacting to me, and they are actually chasing me up the road here. You can fight while on horseback. You can use your sword and you can use spells. There you can see them chasing me. But this is about the end of my first hour of play, and I am really liking this game. I don't know how long it'll take me to finish it, because I'm not having much time to play lately, and I'm not really sure how the multiplayer aspect is going to work for me because my internet is so terrible. And on top of all that, I still have not finished the PS5 version of Demon's Souls, which I am also really enjoying, but I had to buy this. If you would like to see more videos of this, let me know. But for now, as always, thanks for watching.